Good morning, everyone. My name is Edgar Jimenez, and I'm with the Small Business Development Center at Chinese Mutual Aid. Thank you very, very much for all of you here attending live. And of course, all of you that will see us on our YouTube channel. So this is part of our series of webinars that we're here to really help businesses become successful, because we are considered Chicago's growth advisors for no cost, courtesy of the SBA and DCO state of Illinois. So today we have Ronnie Ramos with us. We'll be going over content creation for small business. So before we get started with Ronnie, I'd like to really talk to you a little bit about what we do at Small Business Development Center. We are a no-cost confidential advising, and we go over all issues and any issues that any small business may need help with. This includes business plan writing, which is the big focus that we have here, because you normally need a business plan when you are getting funding, either from investors or from a bank. So we always focus on that. But some of you have already have successful businesses. What kind of help could we help you with finding new customers, or even helping you grow your brand, and even strategic planning and analysis, like really how to flush out what your unfair competitive advantage is. How do we focus on that, lean on that, and grow that niche, so then you're able to grow your clientele, grow your suppliers, hire employees. So we are honored to be part of this community, and do know that out of the state of Illinois, there's 42 of us, 42 small business development centers, or SBDCs, and we at Chinese Mutual Aid, we are focused, we are the only AAPI center. However, we help all businesses in need, and I could just a few that I have, from a UFC fighting coach to a travel dispenser, a travel drug processing concept, to even help long-standing joint and arthritic centers. So we have a broad offering, and we really bring this perspective to bear. I am the business advisor for SBDC, but also I do have Cheta Satya, who is the director of the center. He has 23 years plus business of manufacturing luggage with large clients across the United States and global suppliers. He has that perspective, along with my colleagues. That includes Tommy Utz, who is helping us today in the background with our webinar, and those within CMAA and with our board, who have many connections, will make the right introductions to help their business be successful. So this is a little about us, and just want to offer that if anyone has any questions, I will be monitoring your perspectives or your suggestions as we put questions to Ronnie. I will monitor them in the chat, and also in the chat, feel free to offer questions. At the end, depending on time, we'll be able to offer it up if you'd like to speak directly with Ronnie. But in the meantime, any questions as they come through, share them with me, and I'll be able to facilitate. And then finally, we'll also add a link in case of you, or you have any of those that you are friends with or colleagues with, or know of small businesses who maybe just need a nudge to even form an LLC or a corporation, or even how to flesh out a business plan, or do they need a patent or a trademark? Those kind of things happen at the very, very beginning, as well as any businesses who have already midstream and they're looking for some growth ideas or nudges. We're there for them. So on the website, you can see, visit our site, ChineseMutualAid.org, at Illinois SBDC. And then finally, our last slide. Oh, and of course we have a QR code. Thank you very much, Tommy, for putting it up. So again, it's a presentation workshop. It is very important to ask the questions you've always wanted, and there's no such question as a bad question, because the question you have is probably a question everyone else has. And our presentation today will be with Ronnie Ramos. She is the proprietor, leader extraordinaire of Harmony 3 Productions. And we'll have a Q&A session maybe at the end, but depending on time. But the back and flow of questions and answers are the best way to go. So feel free to add your questions to the chat. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ronnie Ramos.
Great. Let me share my screen. Wonderful. Okay, so good morning. And this day we are talking about creating content for all of us as business owners. It is so important to have a library of content. So just a little bit about me. I'm Ronnie. These days I'm called a content creator. And what does that mean? That means photography and video, using Canva to make graphics, anything visual, that's my wheelhouse. At Harmony 3, I lead a tight team of creatives, and we use all the tools that I'm going to talk to you about today to help our clients really stand out with great images and video. I do social media workshops just like this every week through SCORE, and I do individual consultations. If somebody says, oh, how do you do this? We can just do a little bit of hand-holding, because my goal is to give you the tools that you can create this library of content for yourself. At Harmony 3, we love visuals. So everything I'm talking to you about today is what we do every day. Love to connect with you on most social media. I'm Harmony. Oh, I have a typo. It says Harmony 2 Productions. I'm Harmony 3 Productions. During COVID, it was basically Harmony 1. It was down to me. But we're back up to 3. And you can always shoot me an email, ronnie@harmony3productions.com. So visuals these days, video is becoming bigger and bigger. So I want to show you in a minute what Harmony 3 is with what we call an explainer video. So I'd like you to take away from this something that you might say, how can I make an explainer video for my business? Because in addition to all the content you need to be posting every day, if somebody goes to your website, the fastest way to let them know who you are and what you do is with the video. So this is what we're working on to show people who we are and what we do. So that sums up what we are. So maybe your business doesn't have as much, things flying around, but I want you to think about a way that you can use video to promote what you do and what the essence of your business is. So today we're talking content creation. So all of that falls under that. So online is so important these days. And the best way to stand out is for you to know what your customer pain points are. What are their needs? Focus on your customer. Your customers are going to be wildly different than mine, wildly different from pretty much any other business owners. They're unique to you. So how are you going to create that connection? The biggest tip I have for you is that it's about engagement. And that means work. That means you need to be connecting. That means you sometimes need to be reaching out first, not just answering direct messages or comments on a post, but sometimes you have to reach out first. Think about being open to new trends and options that you see. And a great idea is to actually survey your customers to find out really what they're looking for. So in addition to stand out, you need to stand by. And since we're working from home, just a little reminder here, you might hear some dogs barking in the background, but they're just doing their job.
I'm sorry if I'm barking. I'm just doing my job in protecting the place.
So for your particular business, whether you're the brand, whether you have a product or a service, you offer this to a lot of different people. And these days, we can connect with so many different people. You don't want to alienate anybody. You want to share what we all have in common. So 33% of consumers these days are choosing to buy from brands they believe are doing social or environmental good. If you're doing something in your community, support that, reflect that, celebrate that. You can do posts that show what maybe your staff is doing on when they're not hard at work for you. Maybe that they're doing a beach cleanup, or maybe they're volunteering for some organization. These are great ways to let your fans and followers and customers know that you're not just a product or just a brand, that you are involved in your community. And that is another great way to start to build that engagement. So what's your biggest challenge creating content in 2022? So I'm going to look into chat here. Go ahead and post in chat what your industry is. And if you have a specific challenge, what are you looking to get out of this webinar today? What do you want to take away that would make content for your business easier? So go ahead and post in chat, and I'm going to keep looking over there. And I would love to have your input today so that we really feel like we're having a conversation together, like we're in the same room together. So when you're thinking about what you're looking to get from your social media, you have to think about what to focus on. There's so many different aspects. A lot of people are like, how do I connect and get in front of people? And some people really have a struggle figuring out what works and what doesn't and how to improve that. I like to think of my social media goals as number one, brand awareness. And what does that mean? It just means that people are going to find you that know you exist, right? So that's like entry level. And then becomes the engagement and really building those online relationships and connections, and then gaining followers and customers. So I want you to think about 3 goals that would be appropriate for you with your creating your social media. So I see a couple of things that people are looking for: search engine optimization, digital marketing, and TikTok channel. Everything that we are talking about today actually can apply to all that. In terms of digital marketing is just visuals that you are sharing online. So everything we're talking about is visuals to share online. Your search engine optimization, that is an actual like area that is so specific. We're not going to actually dive into that today, but we will be talking about keywords, which is basically search engine optimization and what is working on what channels. So if you are putting content that is doing well on specific channels, and every channel has its own voice, that is a mode of that search engine optimization. I see a tool that simplifies repurposing long form content. I think that is a great topic, because what I want you to know is you can repurpose and reuse pretty much anything you've already created. Everything these days is so short that repurposing long form content is a great idea. So yes, we will be talking about that too. Let's see. I want to know what social media works for my industry, which is consulting, because there's so many out there. I want to know which social media should focus on. So consultant for engineering firm. My first suggestion would be LinkedIn, absolutely, because LinkedIn is more of a professional social media platform, and I think that would be appropriate for consultants. Not to say not to be on the other platforms, but if you're going to design your content for one specific platform first, I would pick the one that most of your strategic partners or customers would be on. Someone is saying that, hi, Carolyn, your biggest challenge is getting people to understand SEO is an investment and it can take a while to see results. Absolutely. And that's why I said previously that SEO is its own big topic, and there's a lot of like math involved. It's complicated, and it does not happen overnight. So if you are providing SEO for someone, or if you are trying to do it for your own company, know that it's very analytical. You need to be able to research and see your insights, and it takes time to see what's working and what doesn't work, and it takes time to see results. So,
You know, Ronnie,
yes.
just a question along the lines of seeing what works. Are you going to be able to touching about Helium-10 or Google Analytics? Because that's the kind of what I'm getting the sense here with the consultant is looking for, like what kind of engineering keywords help optimize their,
Yeah,
Google
so
search,
we're
et
not
cetera.
touching on those today because we're talking about creating the content. Once you create that content, then you're going to post it. And yes, I want you to look at those analytics, but we're not going to get into that today, or I would be here till tomorrow. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of different platforms. So Instagram, pretty much everybody's on Instagram. Customers these days sometimes will vet your company on your social media before they even go to your website. So since Instagram is so valuable as a place for people to find you, right, and do their vetting, make sure that your brand is reflected there because it can be a first impression. Customers absolutely search for brands there. You can tell people who you are when they look at your feed for the first time with those top 9 posts. You've got your profile image and a description. It's basically your window, your little shop front window when somebody sees you for the first time. Now, Instagram Reels are absolutely blowing up right now. They're short, engaging videos, a way for you to be creative. You don't have to be super polished and professional because they're so quick, but Instagram is pushing them right now. They are competing with TikTok, and it's amazing the amount of engagement. I work with a client, he's an attorney, and he was typically, if he got 40 to 50 views on a video that he posted, that was great. We posted 2 videos in the last week and a half, getting 3,000 views on each of them. That's without putting any money behind it. It's just Instagram is pushing them out. So if you even have an inkling that you would like to try it, I would jump on now because, like I said, you're getting views, you're getting that brand awareness without you having to try very hard. And this magic may not last very long because the algorithm always changes, but it's happening now. So I am really suggesting to all of our clients that you try Instagram Reels. All right. Now, if you're making posts, I like the idea of making a reel for every big post. Think about behind the scenes. People love that extra stuff that's going on. And for reels, you can be spontaneous. You don't have to be perfect. You can promote a special sale. You can, as I said, promote things that you or your staff is doing. It's more like they say, from the hip, more spontaneous and in the moment, but absolutely letting people know who you are as a person besides just that brand or service. So here's my top 5 tips for making a reel. You don't have to do the dancing that they do and stand out. You can educate people and be helpful. That's my best tip for that. Then entertain and make people laugh. That humor always goes a long way. And be you, be original, be creative. That's where this, behind the scenes can come in. Absolutely use subtitles, be inclusive, and know that you can repurpose and reuse your long form content that we had a question about earlier. So say you made a video and it is on YouTube and it's 5 minutes long, way too long for social, but you could take sections of that and make that into what we call short form video for TikTok or Instagram. Any of the social platforms are celebrating short form video. Maybe you, in that 5-minute video, maybe you have your 10 top tips. Can you take each tip and make that into its own video? That would be my first suggestion. For Reels, they've gone so that you can have your video be between 15 seconds and 90 seconds. I always make my videos less, even if it's just a couple of seconds less than what they say, because sometimes how they make their cut, it doesn't line up with like my 90 seconds. So I would make it, a few seconds less, but you have up to that amount of time. That's a good amount of time that you can use for a video. I do believe shorter is still better. If you are going to be on camera, couple of tips. Nice, even, soft lighting. Don't have that camera at a low angle. You want that camera at slightly above eye level, right? You want to make your face the focus of what you're talking about. And remember, most video these days for stories or reels or TikTok is vertical. So think about filming yourself with your phone vertical. You can make a simple background. I see a lot of people, you maybe are outside. Be aware of what foliage is doing, and that sometimes trees can have their limbs growing out of your head. So try to keep that background as simple as possible.
You know,
And-
Ronnie, we did have someone ask those questions along the lines. We have an attendee saying, I do work from home and it's challenging to do behind the scenes. Any suggestions to really build on that?
Sure. So what type of business do you have?
The person hasn't responded yet, but this person's listening. So I guess to your point, right? Walk outside, maybe maybe you have thoughts on having the green screen background to make it.
I hate the green screen. So we can just start there. I hate that. And I hate the fake Zoom backgrounds. I want you to be real. These days, authentic is what people are looking for. So
Person does digital marketing.
Okay, perfect. So you work from home and it's hard to show behind the scenes. I do the same thing, right? So I work from home, but I can show how I do something. So you do digital marketing. You could show how someone could make a reel for Instagram. You could show them on the Instagram app. You can do a screen capture. You can say, here is the camera built into the app. Show them step by step. You're giving valuable information. You're answering their pain points. So when you say digital marketing and behind the scenes, there's so much behind the scenes. What if you have tips on Photoshop to show them, or in Canva, how to lose a background? That's most people don't know you can even do that in Canva. How you can make that text be animated. All of those are great tips that you can share that really are behind the scenes. You're lifting the curtain and showing somebody how it's being done. I'm trying to go to the next slide here. There we go. And as we were talking about repurposing and reusing, get the most out of your content that you create. Like I said, what if you have a long video? Cut it up and make individual posts or reels. Use that video on your website, right? Use that video on your YouTube channel, the long one. Send out a dedicated email letting people know about this video. And I like the idea of totally reusing stuff after a few months. What if you have one of your how-to videos and you post it in January? There's nothing wrong with reposting that, come June. You have a lot of new viewers, new eyes on it. You could actually even re-edit it a little bit so it looks fresh. Don't think you've gone to all this trouble to create, a video or great content, and then it's going to be gone because social media is so fast. That just lets you know that you can repurpose that and reuse it. All right. And I think it's important that you keep your brand consistent across all the different platforms that you're on. That's the way that people are going to recognize you and help you cut through all that noise. Speak in a consistent voice, the voice that your fans and followers want to hear from. If your fans and followers are on TikTok, that is an incredibly different voice than if they are on LinkedIn. Chances are your audience isn't going to be on both of those. There's a chance. And if they are, you need to adjust your voice. But typically you will know, you will have 2 or 3 platforms that your, people that want to hear from you, that you can set yourself up as that industry leader are on. So if it's LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook, those are similar voices. Even though LinkedIn is much more professional, that voice is changing also and becoming more similar to other platforms. But know what's comfortable for your audience to hear.
Ronnie, what are your thoughts about this phrase called edutainment, where you want to be educational, but you want to be fun and interesting, lots of cuts. But some of us aren't that funny, or maybe some of us would rather not be live, but we like to do voiceovers for maybe a slide.
I think a lot of people struggle with that, because when you look at something like TikTok or Instagram Reels, there's a lot of that quick cuts. They're on camera. They're plugged in. They're edgy, right? I'm not edgy, right? But I can create content that is informative. It can be entertaining, because I do have a kind of an evil little sense of humor that I try to throw in when I can. But I do want you to be on camera. If you can't stand to be on camera, then okay, there are ways to make videos, reels, whatever, with voiceover. But right now, what people want to connect with is a person. It will, just try it. If you're totally uncomfortable, like I said, there are other ways. But if it's just like you're shy, or think, oh, I don't want to be on camera, you will be surprised. People are they're very welcoming, and we're yearning for that connection, and we can still get that online, right? When the lockdown first started, I was like saying, no, I don't want to be on camera, but I knew I had to. I hesitated for about a half an hour, and then purchased, and thank goodness purchased a webcam the minute they said lockdown, because then they were all gone. But I knew that I had to, and I want to encourage anybody that's listening to think about being on camera.
Ronnie, I do agree absolutely with authenticity, but as getting the sense from a lot of the questions we're having, some people are really wanting to try it for the first time, and if it's a matter of voice, like someone wants to sound very authoritative, or someone wants to be kind of funny and light, should they go ahead and try that on one platform first, like maybe try it on LinkedIn?
The main thing they have to decide, is, how does their audience want to hear them? If you're an attorney, probably not the funny, light, persona, right? Probably you want to be more helpful, give them, information that's helpful, set yourself up as an industry leader. So that is probably easier for a lot of people. But if your audience is expecting that funny and light stuff, then my best guidance would be you start really studying your competitors and what are they doing, right? And see what they're getting in terms of engagement. Use that. I love to really tell my clients to do that research of your competitors. I don't want you to copy anything, but I want you to be inspired by everything. And especially competitors can give you a lot of insight into, because you have the same audience, what that audience is looking for. If that audience is really responding to something they're doing, like I said, don't copy it, but think about how you could do that for your business. It is hard to, in a vacuum, say, okay, what am I going to do that's going to be funny and entertaining? I can't do that. And I do this for a living. I have to be looking at things that people are doing online all day long, and filing that away, thinking, oh, this would be good for this client, or this would be good for me. So that I have fresh input that I can just let sit in there and simmer. And then when I need to make a post, I have what in the old days we used to call a scrap file. Now I save things to my computer, to my desktop, notes on my phone, do screenshots, so that I have that wealth of visuals to draw from. In the old days, when you'd go to your doctor's appointment, you would rip pages out of the magazines. I got doctors that wouldn't let me, I had to sit on my hands because they thought I was tearing up all their magazines. But these days we can do it online. So check out, do your recon, do your little reconnaissance to what people in your industry are doing. And if you have specific questions, go ahead and put them in chat. If you have like specific industry, say, I don't have a clue where to start. When I was in art center and studying design and photography, my first design class, I sat down, I knew nothing about design. And they said, make a logo. And I'm like, I don't even know where to start. So the best thing that I can do for you is we can brainstorm. I can give you some ideas on where to start. And I think that is probably the most valuable thing that I can offer. But be specific in chat, and we'll see what we can come up with. So when we're talking content, I do not ignore email. Again, know your demographics, know what your mission statement is, be true to your brand, right? That's so important. People, again, these days are looking for authentic. If you start going on this trend that's really popular right now, but you don't live and breathe it, they see through that. So know what your focus, your mission statement is, be true to your own brand. I think you need 3 things: a list, great photos, and video. So when I say the list, that's your permission-based email list. These are people who have said, yes, I want to hear from you. So when I talk about email, I am talking about these are people who said they want to hear from you on a regular basis. If all of your social media went away, you have no way to connect with them. But if you have that list, that's gold for your business, right? These are your people that think you have great info. Connect with them on a regular basis. If you don't connect with them on a regular basis, they're going to forget about you. So make sure that you are sending something out. Emails these days are very, very simple to create. Think about who your audience is and what they're looking for. Where do they work? What are their goals, right? I think most important, where are they hang out on social? Because that's where you want to be. Describe them like your best client in real life. And when you're creating your images, keep those images real. Think about maybe doing your own photos, right? Stock photos, they have a place these days, but again, people really want, they see through that. They want to see who you are before they want to work with you. All right. So how do you find your audience? Because when I talk about your audience, a lot of people go, what? How do I find that? Well, you can take a survey of your existing customers. You can interview them when you're working with somebody, ask, what their needs are. What else can you help them with? You might even have more than one target audience. And like I said, check out the competition, see what type of content they're doing. You can do a survey and ask your existing customers what they're looking for. And be very specific. I like the idea of keeping a visual in my head of this is the person I'm talking to, right? This is you. I'm talking to you. That can be a sketch, but keep it a work in progress. Keep working on that, but so that you're comfortable talking to that person that is your ideal client. Now, you definitely need a plan for your content, right? If you have a product to sell, showing clear photos of your products, absolutely a must. But I also think it's a must that you mix that up with editorial shots, like a slice of life shot, so that people can envision themselves in that experience with your product. Social media and email are great and cost-effective. Always make sure that your images reflect your brand and that are the best images that you can come up with. So if you're photographing them, do a little bit of research on how to keep those images really clean and looking good. Absolutely check the metrics when you are on social. We talked a little bit about Google Analytics, but every social platform has insights into your posts and into how you're doing over time. So track those, track which posts and style and type of posts are successful and do more of that type.
Ronnie, one question did come up about trademarks and copyrights. Sometimes, we use open source or shared content, like a really cool photo. I just, if you could just touch a couple seconds.
Yeah, and that is really near and dear to my heart.
Use.
And I feel very strongly about this. You are basically breaking laws by posting things that you do not have express permission to use to promote your brand. People own their own work. They own the copyright, right? That's why music, you can get into so much trouble if there's music playing in the background when you're making a post. If you're trying to, add music to one of your posts and you don't have permission, absolutely you can get into trouble. People are being sued. There are bots now that are searching for images, and it's all, AI algorithms involved, so they can tell right away whether there is a license for that use. You have to be very careful these days. I do not recommend any open source unless you dig deep into the license for that and know that it is appropriate for your use. As business owners, that's commercial use. A lot of that open source stuff, they're like, sure, free to use for personal use. As business owners, this is not personal use. I am not an attorney. All I can do is give you my best practices, and that is making sure that you have in writing the correct usage for anything that you did not create, whether that's visuals or video clips or music, that you have a usage license for that use. And you need to know whether they gave you the license for that one time or whether you can use it multiple times. You have to read the fine print.
And I think that's a good point too, Ronnie, because there's a lot of us are artists. We're very creative, where we could take the Pepsi logo, which is a big deal, but distort it enough that we think it's original art. So my advice, which I would lean with Ronnie, you better talk to your own trademark copyright attorney to really know how far to push it. Now, reality, will Pepsi come after you? They might, but once, let's say your art is beautiful and it gets traction, they're going to come after you hard. So absolutely. I think those are very, very important issues to consider. So I think, as Ronnie was mentioning earlier about Canva, create your own content. You own you. You own your art. Lean into you. And that's really what Ronnie's getting at, right, Ronnie? Just create your content. That's you. You own it.
Right. And then, what you mentioned and is like taking something and altering it, and then you can use it. That does not fly. That you can get into so much trouble. You might say, oh, it's 10%. Is that going to be your rebuttal to the judge? Oh, that was 10%. I'm good, right? Maybe not. Again, not an attorney, but I work in this space every day. And for myself, for my clients, I research the usage on any piece of stock that I'm going to use. When you mention Canva, there's a lot of stock that is available to use on Canva. Some of it's from, XYZ photography. If there's a person in it, I don't use it because the photographer might have said you can use that, but did they get a model release? I don't know. But a lot of the stock comes from Getty Images, and they are, worldwide renowned, very professional stock agency. If there's a model in it, I feel like they've probably done their research. They're probably okay. So, but I look and see where that stock image came from. Yes, I go that far on every image I'm going to use, but I'm doing it for myself. I'm protecting myself, and I'm doing it for clients. So again, I share with you my best practices. So my best practices, know where the stuff is and that you have it in writing, that you can use it.
Thanks, Ron.
Absolutely. Okay, real quick, don't post and ghost. And you might say, well, what does that mean? That means when you post, don't just post it and then walk away. You've got this wonderful little moment right after you post that most of us get some engagement. I engage back with those people right then. Typically, I'll post in the morning, I'll have my cup of coffee, I'll sit and I'll watch. And I will engage back with those people. I will look at their their feed and see if there's something that I can comment on. Be selective. This is your post. This is your account. And you will typically, in that first little moment, if you're going to get bots and spam, that's when they're going to come up. Again, this is your account. Easy to delete them and block them. So take a few minutes after you post. And if you are getting some engagement, engage back. Then Instagram, that algorithm will pick that up as both sides are engagement, and there maybe can show it to more people. So I always recommend that.
Ronnie, do you recommend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, kind of like make that part of your routine every time you post? You're able to engage, which therefore increases the likelihood of those outside of your network to find your content, or
About an 8-ounce cup of coffee. I don't have an exact moment because Instagram, they don't tell you, how long that little window is. But, I'm going to sit and have my coffee anyway. So that's the time that I do that. Now, maybe you decide that posting in the afternoon is better for you. And again, you're not going to know unless you are tracking what time of day your posts are doing better for you. So maybe it's during your lunch break, or maybe you take a little break in the afternoon. But just as, again, a best practice, I don't post and then go away, because I want to build up that engagement. So it is part of my process. It's part of my work for me, is to sit there and engage back with them.
Do you have thoughts on maybe a post? Let's say maybe it's a 1-minute post or what have you, 3-minute post, but sometimes it takes a lot of work. Maybe you post it on Monday, post the same thing Wednesday afternoon, post the same thing Friday evening, and experiment. Any thoughts or success?
I would not do that. I would not post the same post, because there's a high chance that people are going to see it again. If they see that same post 3 times, they can unsubscribe from you. They want new, fresh content. But what I do recommend is that you test, maybe Monday, you're sending out your post at 8 a.m. Then maybe Wednesday, you send a different post out at noon. Friday, maybe you send one out in the evening, right? So even though they're different posts, it's still a post coming from you, and you can see which time of day you get more interactions with. Also on Instagram, they will give you insights. They will let you know, your followers, what time of day they're most active. So I would look at that, right? And then you can see which time of day you're getting more engagement. Then you can pick which day. But for Instagram, gold standard, every day. 3 days a week, I think, would be minimum. If you just can't do that, at least be posting once a week, so that people know that you're out there and that they don't forget that you're out there.
Cool, thanks.
But I would not do the same one, only because the chance of somebody seeing it multiple times is too high. The other thing that you can do is, if you're going to put money behind your post, if you're going to run it basically as an ad, Facebook owns Instagram. So you can go into the ad manager in Facebook and schedule those posts. You can actually do an A/B test when you're setting that up. So you could schedule that with maybe one has for the image a video, and one has for the same post, same content, a still image, and you can see which does better, video or still. So there's a lot of tools that are available, but very simple. If you're just looking for time of day, look at your insights on your own account and see when your followers are more active on Instagram. Start there, and then just kind of keep track, do your own little testing.
Thanks, Ron.
I love the idea of a 30-day challenge, right? I have created for my webinars a hashtag, Team Harmony 3. So I'm going to type this in chat. So on Instagram, hashtags work great, right? Nobody owns a hashtag. It's just a way that you can find each other or find posts using that hashtag. So we've probably got, a half a dozen of us, or a dozen of us in here today. What if you made a post on Instagram tomorrow morning and you had a dozen people you didn't know comment or like that post? That would be a lot. And if you went back and liked their post, show them a little love back, that would be a lot for them, be a lot for Instagram. They go, wow, look at all the engagement on your post. We could really help each other. So for SBDC, do you guys have a hashtag? Do you have a branded hashtag?
Not active. We're working on several. We've actually gotten a URL recently that we're going to be sharing in the next week or two. But,
okay.
It's
and like I said, hashtag,
strategy.
Nobody owns them, but if you have a branded hashtag, I would share that. Anybody, if you want to use, and nobody, has to do anything. If you want to use hashtag Team Harmony 3, every time I'm doing a webinar, I tell people to look for that hashtag. You can follow hashtags just like you follow people, and like and comment, because you know what? We have something in common. We have SBDC. We have the fact that we're entrepreneurs, small business owners, we work for a nonprofit. We have things in common because we're all here today. So a great way to lift each other up is to find each other's posts, comment, like, share, right? And this is just one way that that we can find each other. Okay. All right, back to email for just a minute. So 90% of your email that you send to your permission-based list, remember this is not a bot list, gets delivered, as opposed to on Facebook, only about 2% of your Facebook fans are going to see your posts organically. So again, just highlighting the importance of your emails and letting people know what social channels you're on with your email, and on your social channels, letting people know that you share valuable content or whatever that you're going to be sharing on your email that's valuable to your client. And know that with your emails, they're probably going to see it on their phone. So what does that mean? I want you to make sure that you design it so it's easy to read, easy to access on that little tiny mobile device.
And Ron, if I could add something about having an orientation towards phones, I would also offer that that's a consideration for your logos. If you notice, even with the big brands over the last year or two, notice how they've gotten smaller and simpler, because in the end, right, you want them to be recognizable on a phone or within the circle or even on your tab online. So it's very important to really build your campaign, your engagement, your logos with the phone at the top of your consideration.
Yeah, I really think that, most people are going to look at anything you're sending out mobile first. So whether it's emails or posts, or just like you say, your logo, definitely be thinking it, how it's going to look little tiny, that little avatar, even your LinkedIn profile, right? Is just that little circle. Make sure that it's looking good, reads well on a phone. So when I'm designing an email, I design it for phone first. So this is an example in Constant Contact, but it will give you a demo. So you can see these are templates from Constant Contact. You can see what it looks like on a desktop and on a mobile. So you know that it's going to look good when somebody sees it on their phone for the first time. So this is the key, right? This is the secret sauce to content that you're creating. It has to be relevant to your audience, and you have to engage back with your audience. Helpful, problem solving, humor is always great. 51% of people say that they're going to unfollow brands that share irrelevant content on social. And 67% of people are more likely to spend with brands that they follow. So you want people to follow you. Make sure that any hashtags you're using reflect your brand. Don't jump on hashtags if it doesn't ring true to your brand. And content can absolutely be a monster, but it can be fun. You can find a schedule and a fit that will work easier for you. So big takeaways: be authentic, be consistent, know you can repurpose and reuse, you can share tips, you can be helpful, you can offer solutions. What are you great at? These are the things that I want you to share. And be consistent. Kind of sound like you. Don't be sounding like somebody else. They're coming to you for your content. That you are the brand. So speak in that voice that your audience wants to listen to. So talking about your audience again in the language that you're using. So I want you to think about what tone of voice, what style of images they are comfortable seeing. As I said, if you're on TikTok, it's wildly different than LinkedIn. Want you to think about being the solution to their problems. They're on there searching for something, looking for something. Know what that is so that you can offer solutions to that, what their needs are, what their interests are. Speak to them and engage with them.
Ronnie, to build on that, there's a question that came from Monica. Thank you, Monica. What do you think about mock-ups for digital products. And I would lean into what you were just talking about, Ronnie. You know, you might want to do mood boards, or what's your thoughts on that? Because also a lot of people try to figure out how do they sound, how they look, how impactful is their content before they launch. So just if you could share some perspectives on mock-ups for digital products.
Monica, give me an example. So when you say mock-ups for digital products, can you type in, give me an example of what you're talking about? Because when you say mock-up for a digital product, for me, it comes up like, oh, here's a mock-up for a computer, like a laptop, and you're going to put your website in there. Is that what you're talking about? Can you be a little more specific? Do you want to let Monica unmute?
Let me promote Monica.
Like a t-shirt. Oh, yes. So we are kind of talking the same thing. So say you have a design that, say you're a graphic designer and you came up with a design or a logo, right? And you want to show that on a t-shirt mock-up. Absolutely, right? Even Canva has mock-ups in Canva that they have t-shirts, they have photo frames that you can drop in your design on. So if that's what you're thinking about, yes, I like that. I had a client I was working with yesterday. They have a new website they want to show. So we have a video mock-up of a computer that we dropped in their website on. So it looks like somebody is looking at their website and is totally mocked up. Absolutely.
And then there's also a question we have from Carolyn. What are your thoughts on updating old or outdated information that someone else created? I think that's a broader question. Like, it's a lot of brands, they do relaunch or repositioning. You know, so maybe it's content that's been there, but the owner now wants to update it. How aggressive?
So let me come back to that real quick. So Monica typed in USPTO doesn't allow it. So I don't know what she's referencing. Do you know, Edgar?
That would be trademarking. So, you know, I guess to answer that question, Monica, you know, and it depends on are you talking about your application for trademarks? So really what it comes down to, if you try to trademark a brand or a logo or a phrase, that could take about 1 year to 2 years. So I think in the meantime, as long as it's submitted, you put a TM on it, trademark, and you're able to put it out there, but just be ready. If it's not approved and someone else owns it, that's the risk you have.
So so I guess I'm not exactly sure what she's talking about. So like a t-shirt, put a t-shirt in a frame. So I'm not sure how, if you're trying to get the trademark for that shirt, is that what you're talking about?
It might be. So what trademarks do is they ask you to have proof to show past products that you have on your logo that
then if you're showing mock-ups, then no, that's totally different. What I was explaining was like, if you want to make a post and show, you know, your design on that, or like I said, I took a
like,
you know, a computer
or something.
Right. That's totally different. Trademark is, we were not talking about that. So if they have specifics saying we have to see your product as an actual product, then a mock-up, no, will not work for that. Right. Not an attorney. I need a t-shirt that says that. Okay, so sorry. And
then the thoughts on updating an old or outdated information that someone else created. Do you believe on a dramatic move, or refreshing, or maybe building news and teasing your audience, saying, hey, the brand relaunch will be coming in 2 weeks. Look forward to our, you know, logo. Just your thoughts on updating.
I love the idea of coming soon, you know, putting those teasers out. In the video that I showed you, it says, you know, coming soon, new logo, blah, blah, blah. So it's to generate excitement for what you're doing. Bring your audience along in the journey. I love that. I love that. So yes, I think 100% on that. So I see another addendum to Monica, she's in the process for a basket business, but she can't put the basket in the mock-up. So again, those are like legal issues in terms of the trademark. So it's kind of beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. Today, I'm really talking about, you know, creating visuals. But I would absolutely think that, you know, SBDC would be a great resource to dig into that a little bit deeper for you.
I'll follow with Monica. Thanks, Ryan.
Perfect. Okay, so again, whatever you're creating online, be true to your mission statement. You can start with a style guide, which has your colors and your logo and maybe some inspirational photos. You were talking about a mood board. I like the idea of that, but again, not sharing stuff that other people have created that you don't have permission to use. Staying consistent and aligned with your brand. Okay, so what to post? You can test, as I said, different types of posts. Is a post with a face getting better engagement? What about a how-to post? You know, DIY, do this, do this, do this. Inspirational quotes. Yeah, they're once in a while. They're much falling out of favor than they were, but every once in a while, if you need something to put into your feed, whatever gets more engagement, do more of that. Absolutely try new stuff. Go heavy into video. Sometimes maybe a still image is better than a video, but you are not going to know until you test it with your own particular audience. I think your own photos are great. You can use icons and text over graphics. You can make short GIF videos, shout outs to strategic partners, holiday sales. People love before and after. I definitely think humor helps, and, you know, community good works, be sharing that. Success stories do really, really well. We take complete strangers' advice and suggestions on a daily basis. Look at Yelp reviews, Google reviews, right? Amazon reviews. People we don't even know. We go, should I buy this? And we take what they tell us. So sharing success stories, people that are thrilled with your product or your service, that is really, really valuable for your business. You can make posts about your top 10 FAQs, your frequently asked questions. You can help them come up with the answer to those questions. You probably also know 10 things people should ask. Right there, that's 20 ideas for different posts. And behind the scenes, like I said, people, they do love for you to kind of lift that curtain and show how you do the things that you do. I definitely think that your own photos are important. Think high quality there. Sometimes just scheduling a day when you can work on your own content, and then you have those, start with the photos that you're going to have, then you can work on those throughout the month. But if you can schedule even a half a day to create your own content, it will be so much easier on you than at, you know, one day you're like, oh my goodness, what am I going to post today? So have some in your back pocket. Okay, we just have a few minutes left. Let's see if we have any additional questions that we can talk about.
You know, Ronnie, I did want to share, I have a lot of clients who actually post stories on on Instagram. They're terrified about doing a video. Any just suggestions on people, you know, being comfortable in creating.
So they're terrified about being on camera?
Yeah, they'll post a photo or a perspective on stories like on Instagram, but you know, they're terrified.
So because it's so important, start small, but at least try it. Maybe you will say, nope, I hate it. I am never going to do this. That's fine. But at least try it. And I only am pushing so hard because it gets so much engagement, right? You are connected. If you have, just broadly, give me an example of one of their types of industries.
This is personal development.
Okay, so basically a consultant, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so would that consultant meet with their best client and and be behind a block wall and not make that connection? Probably not. In real life, we don't really care. We just have a meeting, right? So Edgar, if we were in the same state, I'd be happy to share a coffee with you in real life, you know, pretend there's no COVID. And I don't care what I look like. I want to connect with you. I don't care what you look like. I want to connect with you. I think because it's video, people struggle with that. But if you would comfortably meet with someone in real life, at least try it. Just try to be on video for a little bit. And if you hate it, step back. You don't have to do it. There are options. But again, because it is so great for engagement and making that real connection, I would recommend to at least try it.
No, I appreciate that, Ronnie. Yeah, and I think it really comes down to, you know, you just got to get out there and just try it. Yeah, TikTok's a little bit more personal. It's more forgiving. Instagram, people feel the video needs to be perfect when in fact it doesn't. I think it's about genuineness, and people really want to know what you're about, and they will engage with you and likely be interested in finding more about your product or services.
If your content is valuable to them, that's all they want. That is all they want. What you are offering, you're solving a pain point for them, you're entertaining them, you're hand-holding them through a process, DIY, that's all they want. They don't care that you're uncomfortable on camera. And my best tips to be a little more comfortable on camera, pretend that your mom's in the room saying, sit up straight, right? I think that's very important. Have the camera a little bit above eye level. So my camera is just right there, right above eye level, and look into the camera. I see so many people on Zoom and they're like reading over here. That's not engaging. Look into that camera, connect with the people that you're talking with.
Well, thank you very much, Ronnie. Thank you very much to our team. ICE has put up a link on there for our Facebook page. And thank you to everyone who attended today with your questions. We will be posted on our YouTube channel, which I've included in the chat. But also, Ronnie, thank you very, very much for your time and efforts and your outreach today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Happy to get a chance to meet you guys. Have a wonderful day. We're here in sunny, hot California. Here, guys.
As well, Ronnie. All right. And again, for our team here in Chicago, thank you very much, Ice. Thank you very much, Tommy. And this was a pleasure. And for all of you attending and watching our video, we have more to come, and we'll be coming out with more information. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.